The Galactic Council's emergency session had been in progress for 3 standard cycles, and Ambassador Zexhai was beginning to lose what remained of his patience. The holographic displays showed the same devastating footage on repeat. Entire colonies reduced to ash, military fleets scattered like debris, and always the massive shadow of the Void Render, cutting through space like a knife through silk. "The situation is beyond critical," announced High Chancellor Mordun, her crystalline voice echoing through the chamber. "The Void Render has consumed 12 star systems in the past rotation. Our combined fleets cannot even slow its advance." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembled delegates. The Cathari contingent clicked their mandibles nervously, while the gas-form ethereals flickered with anxious energy. Even the usually stoic granite lords seemed to shift uneasily on their rocky pedestals. "Perhaps," suggested Ambassador Yilnoth, of the Serpentine Collective, "it is time to consider retreat to the Outer Rim galaxies." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. 3,000 years of galactic civilization, and they were discussing abandoning it all because of one creature. That's when the chamber doors opened with a soft hiss. Every head, tendril, optical sensor, and consciousness node turned toward the entrance. A figure walked in, bipedal, average height by galactic standards, wearing what appeared to be casual clothing. Most shocking of all, there was a thick braided rope in its hand, and at the other end, silence fell like a hammer. At the end of the leash was a miniature Void Render. Not full-sized, this one was perhaps the length of a Terran automobile, but unmistakably the same species. The same obsidian scales that seemed to absorb light, the same 6 eyes that burned with inner fire, the same reality-warping aura that made space itself seem to bend around it, and it was walking calmly beside the human like a domesticated pet. "Sorry I'm late," the human said, voice carrying easily through the stunned chamber. "Traffic was murder getting through the wormhole network. I'm Captain Sarah Chen, representing the Terran Colonial Defense Force." High Chancellor Mordun's crystalline form seemed to dim. That is impossible. The Void Renders cannot be contained. They cannot be controlled. They are apex predators of the cosmic order." "Yeah, about that," Captain Chen interrupted, giving the leash a gentle tug. The miniature Void Render sat down obediently, though its presence still made several delegates step back. "Turns out you were thinking about this all wrong. See, my species has this saying, 'There are no bad dogs, only bad owners.'" Ambassador Zexhai found his voice first. You domesticated it?" "Well, domesticated is a strong word. We prefer socialized." Chen reached into her pocket and produced what looked like a treat, which she offered to the creature. It accepted the offering with what could almost be described as gentle affection. "Took about 6 months and a lot of patience. Also turns out they really like Earth chocolate. Who knew?" "This is madness," hissed Yilnoth. "The Void Renders have destroyed civilizations. They are engines of pure destruction." "Were they, though?" Chen asked mildly. "Or were they just scared, lost, and acting out? See, we did some research after the first attacks. Turns out the Void Renders are actually juveniles, adolescents, you might say. The adults are much larger and live in deep space beyond the galactic rim. These smaller ones? They're basically teenagers who got kicked out of the nest too early." She scratched the creature behind what might have been an ear. It made a sound like distant thunder, but somehow pleasant. "My species has a lot of experience with problematic adolescents," Chen continued. "The key is consistent boundaries, positive reinforcement, and making sure they get enough exercise. Oh, and treats. Lots of treats." The silence stretched until High Chancellor Mordun managed to speak. "But the destruction, the colonies, temper tantrums," Chen said, simply. "Really big reality-warping temper tantrums, but tantrums nonetheless. We started by approaching the one that was attacking the Kepler system. Instead of shooting at it, we tried something different. We sent in one of our animal behaviorists with a ship full of chocolate and a lot of patience. Dr. Morrison nearly got eaten the first week," Chen admitted. "But by the 3rd week, the Void Render was following his ship around like a lost puppy. By the 6th week, we had it eating out of his hand. Literally. She gestured to her companion. This is Cosmos. Don't ask me who came up with the name, that was all Dr. Morrison. He's actually quite sweet once you get to know him. Loves belly rubs, though you need gravity manipulators to safely provide them. Ambassador Zexhi's translator seemed to struggle with the concept. You named it? Him. And of course we did. He's family now. Chen's smile was warm. Look, we know our reputation in the galaxy. Humans are the weird ones who'll try to domesticate anything. Most of you think we're crazy for keeping predators as companions, but that's exactly why we were perfect for this job. High Chancellor Morden leaned forward, her crystalline form brightening with something that might have been hope. Are you saying all of them can be trained, socialized, turned into productive members of galactic society? Chen nodded. Absolutely. It'll take time, resources, and a lot of chocolate. But yes, we've already got teams working with 3 others. Early results are promising. She looked around the chamber, meeting the optical sensors and eyes of dozens of species. The Void Renders aren't monsters, Council. They're just kids who never learned how to play nice with others. And if there's one thing humans are good at, it's teaching someone to be part of the pack. The chamber erupted into discussion. Some excited, some skeptical, all amazed. But Captain Chen just stood there calmly, one hand on the leash, the other gently stroking the scales of a creature that had terrorized the galaxy. Good boy, Cosmos, she murmured. Good boy. In the end, it wasn't superior firepower or advanced technology that saved galactic civilization. It was patience, understanding, and the uniquely human belief that every creature, no matter how dangerous, could be family with the right approach. The Galactic Council would later establish the Terran Void Render Rehabilitation Program, and Captain Chen would become the first director of interspecies animal psychology. But that day, in that chamber, she was just a human with a leash, proving once again that her species would try to befriend anything, even the monsters that lurked in the dark between stars.